Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Business owner gunned down on Shortwood Road in St. Andrew. A business owner was gunned down Monday morning at his St. Andrew business establishment by an unknown assailant. The deceased has been identified as 62-year-old Amsa Seger, principal of Discount Business Supply, located on Shortwood Road in the parish. According to police report, about 9:46 a.m., Seger was outside his business establishment when a lone man disembarked from a white Honda Fit motor car and entered the establishment. The man brandished a firearm and opened gunfire at him, hitting him in the upper body. The suspect then escaped in the waiting motor car in the area. The police were summoned, and a team from the Grand Spence police station rushed the now deceased man to the Kingston Public Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Murder accused DJ Becker denied bail. Murder suspect Chevron DJ Becker Fairclough, who is accused of the 2022 murder of 26-year-old Sashin Sterling, has been denied bail. Fairclough, a 30-year-old music engineer from Love Lane in St. James, was denied bail during his committal hearing in the parish court on Monday. He was remanded by presiding judge Keisha Grant Price, who feared he might abscond if released on bail. We have evidence on the file that an incident took place in September 2022 and that Fairclough left the area thereafter. He said he lives in the area, but he was not there, Grant Price told the court, referring to a report from the prosecution alleging that Fairclough fled the scene after Sterling's death and was later found in Trelawney. What we do have as a live issue is that of interference with witnesses or otherwise obstructing the matter. I will leave the issue of bail to be determined by the higher jurisdiction, Grant Price added. The decision was made even though Fairclough's lawyer agent Days contended that his client had not been contacted or made aware that he was a person of interest and that Fairclough had no previous convictions. The allegations are that on September 28, 2022, at about 10 p.m., Fairclough and Sterling were among patrons at a party being held on King Street in Montego Bay when an altercation broke out between the two, allegedly due to a past feud that Sterling had with Fairclough's uncle. Fairclough pulled a knife and stabbed Sterling in the chest before throwing the weapon away and fleeing the scene. Sterling was taken to the Conner Regional Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Get rid of them. In a hurrying exodus from the war-torn Mount Salem community of Montego Bay in St. James, one family of 7 has fled their home seeking safety from the escalating violence. As a wave of bloodletting between the journalist and Alliance gang rages on, other residents have been issued urgent warning to seek refuge under the latest storm of brutality, which seems to be unending subsides. Over the last 2 weeks alone, the neighborhood has witnessed 3 lives lost and 2 victims caught in the crossfire of the warring factions. The tight-lipped and fear-stricken inhabitants seek a dark future even with the recent implementation of a state of public emergency. We firmly believe that the situation will only deteriorate unless the authorities take decisive action to eliminate the presence of these menaces, players from our community. We already know that jailing them is not working because they are able to order deaths from behind bars, was confidence expressed by a resident who asked not to be identified. Among the fatalities was the stepfather of 2 key figures in the ongoing conflict. 2 deaths were reported as a result of the illegitimate killing of a man referred to only as Reds on December 31, 2021. Despite numerous warnings to relocate from their own safety, the stepfather, obstinately clung to the belief of his invulnerability, ultimately falling victim to the turbulent circumstances gripping Mount Salem, a police contact who spoke on condition of not being named, reported. Both the officer responsible for the zones of special operation in the area, Deputy Superintendent of Police Ainsley McCarty, and his boss, Senior Superintendent of Police Brian Ellis, opted not to speak with the reporters due to the sensitivity of the situation. Efforts to get a comment from Assistant Commissioner of Police Clifford Chambers, who was responsible for Area 1, also proved unsuccessful. However, as the spectrum of violence looms, large and plight of innocent lives caught in the crosshair intensifies, there is an urgent need to restore peace and security to the community, which was tagged a model Zozo graduate. We stand at a precipice, yearning for the days when we can once again find solace and tranquility within our own streets. And a nothing good, stated another resident, who admit no confidence in even walking across the street to his neighbor's home. This resident is of the opinion that all warring factions have to die for peace to return, but they can't be allowed to kill each other. When asked what was meant by that comment, the resident said, "Take whatever you want from that. The police need to get rid of them." According to residents, the gunmen have turned on their own community, so it is now either them or the community because they are not going to spare anyone. Cops await results of autopsy on Canadian who died while visiting Jamaican husband. An autopsy was on Monday conducted on the body of Canadian woman who died at Shearers Heights in Portland Cottage, Clarendon recently. Jada Pauline Whitehead, a 28-year-old school board employee from Toronto, died after she reportedly came to Jamaica to visit her husband in the community. Head of the Clarendon Division Superintendent Carlos Russell told reporters that a post-mortem was done Monday morning and the police are awaiting the results. The husband, who was detained shortly after the death, remains in police custody. Whitehead reportedly arrived on the island about 3 weeks ago to visit and spend time with her husband, who is a fisherman. Police said 2 Fridays ago, the two reportedly had a dispute which got physical. It is alleged that a fan was thrown at the Canadian and her head slammed into a wall. Whitehead reportedly left the home and went to stay at her friend's house in the same community. While there, her friends advised her to visit the hospital. However, Whitehead reportedly expressed that she did not wish to go and refused to report the incident to the police. Police said while at the house, Whitehead went to sleep sometime after 3 p.m. and her friends observed that her head was swollen and tried to convince her to visit the doctor, but she refused. Further reports indicate that about 5:30 p.m., the friends returned home and discovered Whitehead lying in the same position they left her. They realized she was not moving and reported the matter to the Lioneltown police station. The police responded and saw Whitehead's lifeless body laying face down in the bed. She was clad in a white t-shirt and blue short jeans pants. Swelling was observed on the face and neck, and she had what appeared to be bloodstain on her hand. The body was transported to the Lioneltown Hospital, where it was confirmed dead. PNP Member of Parliament Luton Cousins bats for term limits for parliamentarians. Member of Parliament for Southwestern Clarendon Luton Cousins says serious consideration should be given to term limits for parliamentarians. Addressing People's National Party PNP supporters at a Tollgate Divisional Conference on Sunday at the Tollgate Primary and Infant School, Cousins argued that imposing term limits is crucial in unearthing fresh ideas to propel the country's development. The time has come for us as a people to start seriously consider term limits for politicians. If we're serious about growing as a country, we need to limit the number of terms someone can serve as a member of parliament, said Cousin. He asserted too that anyone who holds the office of the Prime Minister should serve for only 2 terms. Term limit is a conversation that needs to be had, and it must be had especially since we're now looking at amending the Constitution of Jamaica. If an MP becomes Prime Minister, you can serve an additional 2 terms, so 5 terms, and that is it, he posited. We cannot continue to operate as a country and continue to have persons who are serving from the 1970s and 60s still sitting in our parliament. That is unacceptable, Cousin charge. We see people mockingly say to the people, "Oh, you have to carry out with a wheelchair." What kind of idiot argument is that? How can someone in a wheelchair fully represent the interests of the people that elect them? He quipped, alluding to previous comments made by 10-term Jamaica Labour Party member of Parliament for Clarendon Central Mike Henry, who in the past had said he already identified the individual who will push his wheelchair into the chamber when it becomes necessary. Henry, an octogenarian, has become an MP since 1980. Cousins also blasted Prime Minister Andrew Holness for not fulfilling his 2016 election promise to introduce new term limits. As soon as he realized the benefit, that is exactly what is happening to Jamaica today, because you campaign on a platform, you tell the people that when you win, they will be able to have term limits, and as soon as you feel and taste the power, term limits no longer a conversation, Cousin stated. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification